In the context of the Life infocycle project, we will now watch how to perform the management of display appliances after the reception and storage at the treatment facility. All the practices that we will present today derive from the requirements of the management standards. This category includes all of the displays and equipment containing displays whose surface is greater than 100 square centimeters. Typical devices of this category are televisions, computer monitors, laptops, and tablets. Displays are generally divided into two categories: cathode ray displays, known as CRT, and flat panel displays, or FPD. Before we start working, we must always wear the appropriate personal protection equipment, or PPE. Let's go to work. Every management task requires the use of different types of personal protective equipment. The selection of the ones that should be used on each occasion will be determined by the normative documents of each facility, such as the risk assessment document. Especially for the treatment of CRT displays, additional personal protective equipment is required for the protection of the head, the hands, and the feet from any accidents. The depollution and treatment operations must be carried out in appropriate areas. The main standards for these are weatherproof covering, impermeable surfaces with an adequate slope, the existence of a spillage collection facility and oil separator, adequate lighting and ventilation, the existence of a particulate matter retention system where dust is generated. Safety standards such as the following must also be respected: labeling, safe working instructions, traffic lines for pedestrians and vehicles, evacuation plan in case of emergency, fire detection and extinguishing system. All the requirements for the treatment areas are determined by the respective licensing and legislation. The treatment of CRT displays can be performed either manually or mechanically. The objective of the process is the removal of components containing substances harmful to humans and also the environment, such as lead and cadmium. Cadmium is frequently found in fluorescent coatings laid on the inner side of a screen, while lead is blended with the glass parts. Let's watch which materials and components should be removed during the depollution process of the appliances according to the legislation. The first treatment step is the removal of the plastic or wooden casing. The process should be undertaken with good care in order to avoid the breakage of the cathode ray tube before its decompression. The displays contain printed circuit boards that must be removed if their surface is greater than 10 square centimeters. Before any treatment of the boards, batteries and capacitors should be removed. The types of capacitors that should be removed from the appliances are the following: capacitors containing PCB, such as clofen; electrolyte capacitors at height or diameters greater than 2.5 centimeters or proportionately similar volume. Capacitors which are not clearly identified as being PCB-free shall be considered as containing PCB or PCB-suspect capacitors. In case it is not possible to identify the capacitors, that should be removed. A good practice is to remove all capacitors from the circuit board. Before the further treatment of the cathode tube, it must be thoroughly decompressed in order to avoid any accidents from rupture. The next step is the removal of electron transmitters and of any deflection yokes, known as electron guns and TV yokes. While performing this process, special attention is needed so that the electron guns and TV yokes will not contain any CRT glass residues. Bad practice is the following. In any case, CRT glass residues in these materials must not exceed the limit values specified by the standard. The residues of CRT glass that cannot be separated must be collected and managed together with the funnel glass. The cathode ray tube is transferred for further treatment in order to remove the main pollutants. Before the separation of the two glasses, the metal belt that provides explosion protection is removed. The front and back of the display, or else panel and funnel respectively, are held by an intermediate part of the glass, known as glass frit. A common method of separating the glass part is the separation method with a heated wire, known as a hot wire method. The frit glass, as well as the funnel glass, contain lead at high levels. The splitting process of the two glass parts can be performed in a wet processing environment. Which practice is considered to be good at this stage? During the depollution process, good practice is considered the optimal splitting of the two glasses. Monitoring and calculation of mass percentage of the lead oxide in panel glass is essential. For example, if this quantity exceeds 0.5%, then the fraction is considered unclean. After the splitting of the glasses, the metal mask or else shadow mask is removed. In case that not clear output fractions are being produced, mass percentage of CRT glass must be calculated in ferrous fractions. The final stage is the removal of the fluorescent coatings from the glass panel by suction using an appropriate industrial type vacuum cleaner. For the quality control of the depollution of the fluorescent coatings from the CRT glass fractions, and therefore the removal of heavy materials contained in it, the measurement of the concentration of sulfur compounds is considered to be good practice. The panel glass has a high concentration of barium and strontium. The treatment of flat panel displays is conducted either by manual dismantling or by mechanical shredding. The objective of the process is the sound management of backlight lamps, which contain mercury, an element highly toxic for humans and the environment. Backlight lamps can be found in various appliances, such as televisions, monitors and laptops. The manual treatment process firstly includes the removal of power supply cables, of the plastic case, and of the other materials and components concerning special treatment, such as the printed circuit boards. Afterwards, the part that contains the essential components for the image production, such as the flat LCD panel and the light's diffusion and reflection sheets, is dismantled. Special care must be devoted to the removal of lamps so that their breakage will be avoided. Sound practice is the following. All lamps, broken or not, should be placed into closed containers to prevent any emission. Lamps must be protected to prevent exposure to excessive heat. The newest types of TVs and monitors consist of a component, usually LED lamps for their lighting, with no mercury. Is there any quality control in the treatment process? For the quality control of the treatment process, regular monitoring procedures should be performed. There are two basic stages of this process. The first stage is the process called batch. To verify the quality of depollution during the batch or specialist performance test, target values of materials concerning special treatment must be reached. The target values are set up by European standards or legislation. For the depollution of the display appliances, further regular monitoring procedures must be applied. Specifically, for flat panel displays, it is necessary to record the quantities of mercury at the first and final stage, and the comparison of them with the limits set by the legislation. All materials and components concerning special treatment are transferred to storage areas that require additional safety requirements. The existence of spillage collection facilities and of a safety basin, appropriate labelling, secure and safe closure accessible only for authorised personnel, fire detection and extinguishing system, EWC or European Waste Code labelling. Materials and components concerning special treatment are transferred with their appropriate documentation for further treatment by licensed companies. For their shipment, appropriate containers should be used with specific labelling. In the event of transboundary shipments, the appropriate monitoring documents are required to be issued. The remaining components deriving from the treatment process, such as ferrous metals, aluminium, glass and plastics, are sent to raw material industries such as steel mills and glasswork industries. We presented the sound WEEE management procedures of displays appliances. We have also pointed out bad practices. It is important, while performing our work, to carry out all the management tasks, having in priority our personal safety and the protection of the environment.